Hey everyone, how are you doing? Let's do a royal roll call. We have 111 in the building. We have Miss Judy Coles in the building. Miss Judy Coles says, hey 111, Queen Tulsa. She definitely utilized the chat and got in here tonight. Got television, bed, cocktails flowing. I know that's right. Yes, today has been a great day. And now we get to read Karine Steffens, a New York Times bestseller, Confessions of a Video Vixen. Okay, yes. I'm so excited to read this book because I forgot when we ordered it and received it and we were supposed to read the book. So it says Confessions of a Video Vixen, Karine Steffens. This book is dedicated to my son, Naeem. Thank you for coming here and saving my life. Acknowledgements. Confessions are tricky. Many times, as you're confessing something to another person, you discover some new valuable lesson about yourself. The journey to making this book possible has been a lifelong one. I have been blessed with people who believed in me. One or two have been with me from the very beginning. Others have joined me only recently. I have to thank before all God, the blessings that He has allowed me are unbelievable. I am grateful for His presence in my life and in the life of my son. Without God, I never could have made it this far. And for that, overwhelmingly grateful. My son, I credit him with saving my life and with keeping me humble. He is my biggest blessing, and I am completed by him. There aren't enough words to. Let me know if you can hear me. Sound check, sound check. Here, let me see. All right, are y'all able to hear me? Okay, I'll put it right here just so I can see me moving. All right. Um, so the last sentence was, let's see. There aren't enough words to thank him. I am nothing without him. One day he'll read this, and all I want my son to know is that everything I have done, ultimately, I've done for him. We made it, man. There are no words to express the way I feel about my grandmother. Vivian Overson is an amazing woman, and no matter the distance between us, she will forever be a part of my life. St. Thomas itself deserves its own accolades. The simplicity of the island taught me about the beauty of less. I've come a long way from the 28 square mile island in the Atlantic, but through but though you can't take the grind out of the island, you can never take the island out of the girl. Thank God for that. Thank you to my spiritual advisor and spiritual mother, Denise Davis. You have been there every step of the way. I know God placed you in my life to help me be a better woman and mother. I will love and appreciate you all of my life. Damon Dash, Andre Harrell, and Shaquem Kapir. You three were the first to let me know that my story mattered. I appreciate you all for that. To my dearest girlfriends, Alicia, Angie, and Cicely, we stuck together over the past decade, and I appreciate all of you for your acceptance, patience, and for the contributions that you all have made in my life. Thank you to the Samars and to Loretta and family. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me raise my son over the years. You were all there for us when we needed you and were instrumental to helping my life come together. By keeping my son safe, happy, Dina, Lashana, David, Enoch, George, Gina, Jamal, John, John, Terry, Tim, and anyone I may have forgotten. Thanks for being there when I needed you. To my papa, are you feeling okay, Quintosa? Actually, I don't know. Like, I think maybe I should try in the morning because I want this to be very clear for you. And I do feel like I am having, um, yeah, I'm having some, I'm having an encounter with my voice right now. So, yes, would you all like for me? Is it okay if I come back tomorrow and read, or is this okay for you? Are you able to hear me? Let me know if you're able to hear me, because I want you all to be able to hear the story. Let's do a sound check right now. Are you guys able to hear me? And how do I sound? Sometimes we need to take a break. Okay. All right. So we are actually, so I'll just read this part right here. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so I'll finish that part because that's the last part. And then that's when the book starts. So I'll finish this part off. To my papa, thank you for all. To my papa, thank you for all the years that you have stood by me, never judging me, never turning your back on me. You were the voice in my head telling me to change and reminding me of all the reasons why you, above all, are my friend. Iced tea, thank you for changing my life. You gave me the option of leaving my past behind. You gave me a place to go. You opened the doors of Los Angeles to me. I remember everything you ever told me. Thank you for being there for me and my son. I would like to give a special thank you to all who made Confessions of a Video Vixen possible. Gilda Squire for sharing my vision and for pushing me to make this happen. Don Davis for believing in me and in the importance of my life's message. Mark Jackson for his keen eye and passion. Everyone at Amistad and HarperCollins who contributed to the process and completion of Confessions. Also, thank you, Karen Hunter, for your assistance and expertise. All right, I'm going to try to read some. So, the introduction is no shame in my game. We'll try to get through that. And if I sound broken up or anything, let me know. And then we can take a break. No shame in my game. Like so many young girls, I grew up wanting to be famous. I used to watch television and dream about the Beverly Hills lifestyle, seen in all of my favorite films. I wanted to live below that Hollywood sign and drive down Sunset Boulevard over Mulholland Drive in a Mercedes Benz while wearing a designer scarf and a huge black sunglasses. I wanted to be known by the rich and famous and be seen lunching with the in crowd. I wanted to live where they lived and do what they do. I wanted to belong. I reached most of my goals, but I didn't do it in a conventional way. I did it using the oldest trick in the book, sex. I'm not always proud of what I did, and there are things that I would do over if I could, but I made the best out of what I started with. And abusive. An abusive mother and an absent father. I didn't write this book to excuse my past. I sat down to write this book because I think my story can serve as a warning to anyone aspiring to be aspiring to the kind of life I led. And there are plenty of young people trying to do just that. Where young girls once aspired to be models and ballerinas, they now aspire to be hip hop video girls. The next the next hot girl in the hottest artist video. Having lived that life, I can't say it's not everything it's cracked up to be. My hips have swayed and popped on MTV while I danced on tabletops and poolside and in some of your favorite videos. I had sex with some of the most delicious and insatiable men in the world, heads of music labels, NBA stars, and Hollywood's A-list. To say, hold on, let's see. To say nothing of the emperors of hip hop, but there's an underside. If sex and drugs went hand in hand with rock and roll, they are just as rampant in hip hop. I wouldn't call this book a tell all, since there are many details I've kept to myself for the sake of not embarrassing some of the people still associated with me. Details such as which one of my music industry suitors I caught in bed with his male lover, and which one of my NBA exes often kept track of me by using the OnStar device placed in the Mercedes Benz he bought for me. Many times sending his associates to retrieve me from vacations and nights on the town. Yet, in the middle of this wild ride that I call my life, I was met with challenges which could have ruined me if it had not been for the power of change. I'm writing my story because I've seen too many 14-year-old girls dressed up like their favorite pop icons and young women dying to be thin or saving up for the new pair of breast implants that they are sure will make them the stars. Young women who look up to me and women like me as to be plugged into the same circles I desperately try to escape. I have so much firsthand information to offer and need those young women to know that there are other directions to take. There are always better choices than most of the ones being offered to women today. Better choices than the ones I have made. The top reason a woman finds herself in a rap video, sprawled and dressed over a luxury car while a rapper is saying glued things about her, is a lack of self esteem. I know it sounds like a cliche, but no one who values, loves, or knows herself would allow herself to be placed in such a degrading position. Finding myself and learning to value who I am was one of the biggest hurdles I had to overcome. Before my video girl career, I was known in some circles as a stripper. Others knew me as Superhead, ins- insatiable lover of many Hollywood stars, sports figures, and some of music's most influential partners and executives. None of that is who I really am, nor does it tell the whole story. Along my journey, there are things that I have seen and overheard which could tarnish and even demolish the reputations of some of these artists. I realized then that I had a power which had nothing to do with my body or my looks or my sexuality. I had information, usually confined to members of the good old boys, clubs of the industry. I had been allowed behind those doors as a modern day Matahari. All right. Hi, Tangy Grace. How are you doing, my love? How is sound check? How are we sounding? All right. Let's get into this. The days of MC Light, Yo Yo, Sister Soldier, and Salt and Pepper have faded away. Our Queen Latifah has broken new ground in another sector, but has left her place. Hold on 1 second. All right, how are we sounding? Sound check, sound check. Our Queen Latifah has broken new ground in another sector, but has left her place on the throne of hip hop empty, waiting to be filled. We live in a world where the only goals at the end of the day are profit and top 10 spots on the Billboard charts. Members of the industry are being rewarded for selling the most records, destroying in the process the most beautiful thing about us as a culture, our girls and young women. It was so easy to be drawn in and dominated by it all. Music videos occupied only a short year and a half of my life, but the picture and the purpose are much larger than that. Magazines, music videos, films, and television continuously fill the heads of young girls with visions of perfect bodies, sex, and money. Parents are often either absent or uneducated or both, rendering them largely unaware of what's going on right in their own living rooms. That little girl whose head was filled with those deceptive visions of wealth and fame is me, all grown up and ready to tell what I know. All right, so we'll start the first chapter, Death and Life, on the Rising. Let's see. Are you all following me? Let me know if you're interested, if you're entertained, and I'll keep going. Y'all are here, I'll keep going. Okay, Confessions of a Video Vixen. Chapter 1, Death and Life. October 2001. I was lying on the hard, cold floor in the bedroom of the famous Chinese bistro, Mr. Chow in Beverly Hills. It is one of the most upscale and renowned restaurants in the world, yet I was at the lowest point of my life. With my head next to the toilet, I was alone in debt with no friends and no hope. It had been a long, hard trip that led to this fall. It was a wild roller coaster ride, which included some of the hottest names in hip hop and Hollywood. For 2 years, I rode it out. I was in the middle of it all, dining with P. Diddy, partying with Vin Diesel, going one on one with Shaquille O'Neal. I had money, 3 cars, a condo in a prestigious neighborhood, a nanny for my son. I had starred in, let's see, some of the hottest music videos with Jay Z, LL Cool J, Ja Rule, and Ludacris. I had even co starred in the blockbuster film A Man Apart opposite Vin Diesel. But here I lay on a cold bathroom floor, hugging the toilet's frigid porcelain, completely hopeless. I was broke, homeless, and probably dying. The last thing I remembered was my body shaking violently as I sat on the toilet with my head in my hands and my friend Eva hovering over me, asking me if I was okay. But now I was on the floor and she was gone. Can I move? Was the only thought swirling through my head. I tried to say something to make sure I was alive. I couldn't. I tried to move my leg, and it worked. I stood up gingerly and made my way to the sink. I looked around the small one-stall bathroom. It was dimly lit and tiny, yet elegant. I held onto the sink, looking at myself in the mirror. My pupils were fully dilated, and I could feel my knees wobbling beneath me. I splashed cold water on my face, hoping to snap out of the trouble I was obviously in. I looked at my jewelry and clothes. I still wore the diamond heart pendant and the canary yellow diamond earrings that my ex husband had given me years before. My ring and bracelet were gifts purchased at Tiffany. My long nails were perfectly French manicured, and my hair was long and black. My skin had been tanned by the Miami sun, and my eyes were gray thanks to my color contacts. My face was made up to perfection, compliments of MAC and Chanel. My jeans were $200 a pair by fashion icon Marc Jacobs, and the rest of the ensemble followed suit. Everything was designer made, from my jewelry to my makeup to the clothes I wore, even the drugs I consumed. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor again. When I came from another bout of convulsions, my tongue was swollen and bloody. I crawled up from the floor and made my way back to the sink to splash more water on my face. I desperately wanted someone to walk in and help, but no one came. I began to panic with thoughts of the late actor River Phoenix racing through my head. Thoughts of him seizing outside the Viper Room, not too far from where I was, on Sunset Boulevard, right before dying. I thought of how awful it would be if I died in the bathroom at Mr. Chow. I thought of the irony of it all, of the paparazzi waiting outside for the Nicolas Cage and LL Cool J, who were both in the dining area eating with friends. I thought of how pretty and rich I looked, yet my life had become ugly and poor. But the most prominent thought was of my son, Naeem. My nanny hadn't heard from me in months and had no idea how to find me. No one even knew my real name, or where I lived, or who my family was, or where I came from. To them, my name was Yazette, a name that I had made up when I was 16. During my years as a stripper, I thought of Naeem and wanted to live. I thought if I screamed his name as loud as I could, God would hear me and allow me another chance at being a mother. God had to know that despite everything I had done up until this point, I loved my son and I wanted to do right by him. I stumbled to the bathroom door, opened it, and began to scream his name into the stairwell that led downstairs into the main dining area of the restaurant. I screamed his name over and over until my voice was gone. No one heard. No one heard me. I stumbled back into the restroom to splash more water on my face, hoping the water alone would be enough to reverse what I had done. My heart was racing, and its beat was all I could hear in my head. There were sweat beads on my face, my mouth was dry, and my vision was blurred. My body went into blah. My body went into convulsions three, four more times, each time landing me on the cold, hard tile. No one was there for me. I was going to die alone. 1 year earlier, no one could have told me that my life would turn out that way. I was invited to a function one Friday night in October 2000 at the Sky Bar, located on Sunset Strip. I reluctantly met an acquaintance there and quickly began to mingle. In order to make the best out of what promised to be a boring evening, the crowd was very stuffy, and I found myself yawning in between conversations with a concert pianist and a score composer. After about an hour of walking around, sampling the vast array of Metacore hors d'oeuvres, and oversized apple martinis. I was ready to go. As I searched for the acquaintance who'd brought me to the event, he came up behind me, grabbed my arm, and pulled me toward the pool. I want you to meet someone, he said. Gary, this is Gisette. Gisette, this is Gary. As I said before, Gisette was the name and persona I made up when I was 16. After I ran away from my father and wanted a new identity and hopefully a new life, I landed in Los Angeles. Gary was handsome, dressed in all black, and of medium build and height. He was soft spoken and reserved. As we began to talk, he realized that we shared the same sentiments about the function we were attending. We laughed at each other's silly anecdotes and soon found ourselves exchanging phone numbers. After the function, we all headed over to the local club called Norris Cafe. There, we continued to sip martinis, and at one point, I am sure I climbed on top of a table and started dancing. It was a night to remember, but by the following morning, I had forgotten most of it. The next afternoon, when I had finally recovered from the night before, I checked my messages to find one from Gary. Initially, I couldn't remember who Gary was among the sea of people I had met at the Sky Bar and at Nora's Cafe. After a brief moment of recollection, I began to connect the voice with the face. I failed, however, to return to call. to return the call. That Sunday, while I was driving around in West Los Angeles, my cell phone rang. The number was unfamiliar to me, so I answered with caution. Hey, is that? This is Gary from the other night, the voice said. I rolled my eyes in silent response. I was used to men hitting on me and thought that Gary was just another example, but I was wrong. What Gary said next would not only surprise me, it would change my life. He began to explain to me that he was a film director and he was in the beginning stages of production on his new film. He wanted me to pick up a copy of the script and read for him. He said there was a part he thought would be perfect for me. I was unsure what to think and actually doubted that he was a director of any substance. After you've lived in Los Angeles for a while, you begin to take what people say with a grain of salt, particularly in Hollywood. Still, that Monday, I went to the address he gave me on Beverly Boulevard. I arrived at the production office and picked up the script. Once in my car, I began to read it and was baffled because the character I was to be reading for, Candace Hicks, appeared nowhere in the script. The very next day, I was called to read on camera for Gary and the producers. I read lines for another character while trying to conceal my nervous stomach and dry mouth. Just as with many other things, I performed without thought. I read the lines through a few times and that was it. I was done. Gary walked me out to the hallway and thanked me for coming by. I was still unsure of what I had just done. What was it really for? And who was I dealing with? But I began to get a clue once he mentioned that I was up for the role of the wife of Lorenz Tate's character. Lorenz Tate was a name I knew from his previous movies. So the project became a bit more legitimate and real. Had I known had I known how big this opportunity really was, I might I might not have gotten through the audition. On Thursday, after we met, I received a call from Gary's production office telling me I had been cast as Candace Hicks, the wife of Demetrius Hicks, played by Lorenz Tate. They said the part would have to be written for me. I was thrilled, although I had acted all. I don't know. I was thrilled, although I had acted all throughout my school years, and being in films was something I had always dreamed of. It was never something I felt was an achievable goal, but here it was. After I digested everything Gary's crew told me, it finally hit me. Gary was famed director F. Gary. Gary, who had done Set It Off, Friday, The Negotiator, and would go on to direct The Italian Job and Be Cool. I was going to be a part of a big budget, new line cinema production. When I left my sad life and ran to Los Angeles, I had no idea what I would be doing. I had no idea how I was going to survive. For me, being a part of a film was much more than surviving. It was a move towards succeeding. On the following Monday, just a week and a half after meeting Gary, I showed up for my first table reading with the entire cast. Gary sat at the head of the table, and Loritz sat directly across from me. I didn't recognize many of the actors there, but was secretly drawn to a tall, muscular, sitting directly, muscular man sitting directly to my right. His voice was overwhelmingly powerful, yet his demeanor was gentle. From time to time, his shoulder brushed against mine, and I would get a rush. My attraction to this man was so strong. His name was Vin Diesel. Coincidentally, my first film shoot would take place just a few blocks away from the house where I shot my first music video. We began shooting a man apart at Zuma Beach in Malibu. I awakened at 3 in the morning and got in my car to drive to the set. I glided into Malibu by way of the well-known picturesque calm of the Pacific Coast Highway with the windows in my car down so I could feel the air, brisk and moist with dew. Okay. I was blasting my radio and sang along loudly every song during the 1 hour drive from my condo. I arrived on set and headed directly to the catering truck for a breakfast burrito, then sat in a hair and makeup trailer. I was officially an actress. That's gonna be me one day. Okay. I felt that everything I had done up until that point, everything that happened to me from my abusive childhood, the grape, being a teen runaway, the stripping, had not stopped me or beaten me. I had reinvented myself. I was moving on, hopefully moving up. Perhaps when one has a difficult start in life, the universe has a way of balancing everything out. I do believe that every cloud has a rainbow and a silver lining. I have had many, many clouds, more than most. So I think that maybe we should stop at chapter 2 and I'll come back and read chapter 2 in the AM. So we'll start at chapter 2. I love you all so much. Thank you all for coming by. Have a great night on purpose.
Never say they want it. Girls can't never say yeah. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say yeah. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never